computer. That works good. Okay. It's 3 o'clock. All righty. Yeah, here. I think we looks good. All right. Well, hello everyone. How's everybody? Can you hear me? Good, good. All right. Well, let us begin. I will call this meeting to order. Do I have I think we've sent out the minutes. I think that came out from Virginia. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the fall meeting? Anyone?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. And second?
I'll second, Greg.
Okay, thank you. The executive committee report. Basically, what we did is that we went over the meeting for today and prepared for the meeting today. We adjusted some things that you'll see as we go down through the agenda. But that's basically all we did at the executive council, is just go over things. Ray, Randy, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not today.
Okay, sounds good. All right, business. We will get over as much as we can. What we can't get done, we will cover in an email to y'all. The wiki update. I just got a email during our snow days from Mr. Usmani, who is in charge of the web page design, development, keeping it up process. And he asked me if everything was going well. Last time I tried to get in, I'm trying to fix the front page and get rid of the committees that we no longer have and update everything. And so far that's not going well. So I need to get back with him, but I have just last week we were out with snow days. And so I'm trying to get caught up with everything this week. And that's just not been done yet, but I will get with him on that. The meeting more often, is this the time and week and day and everything that's going to work for most of you? Is this a good time to meet? Or should we look at a different day and time? Comments?
Can you send us a something that we can everyone can send their time to you, like a planner or something, a link?
Okay. You mean set like a spreadsheet and have
A doodle? Yeah,
A
a doodle.
a Google sheet and have them
No,
fill
a
it?
doodle, Paul, doodle.
Okay.
Doodle is basically, you can put your times in there. You can say which times you want, and then everybody can send to you a message about whether they can do the time or not. Doodle, Paul.
Okay, I will look into that.
Thanks.
Dottie, I have a Doodle account, so I can help with that if you want.
What's that?
I have a Doodle account, so I can help with that if you want.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, because I have not messed with Doodle. So thank you. All right, moving on down to the elections. We have someone who has volunteered. That is Virginia from Allen has volunteered to be secretary. Is there any other nominations from the floor for secretary? Hearing none, do I have a motion to move that nomination cease and that Virginia be voted as by acclamation?
Yes,
All right.
let her have it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's
All right. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Can I ask a question, Scotty?
Yes, sir.
I do not see Virginia on this call.
She
on
is
this-
sick today and
So is
she
someone
is-
appointed to take minutes of this meeting?
I'm taking notes and she will receive the recording from this minute.
Okay, great, great. Thank you.
Yes. All right. The next part, we've done some moving around with our executive committee. We had talked about doing resource collaboration at our fall meeting. And when the executive council got together, we decided that it would be easier to focus on those things that are open access. And that way we wouldn't have to worry about licensing and different rules and regs with that. So to start off with, we have here our question: how are open access resources used at my institution? And how would they benefit this group? As we were talking about in executive council, Ray mentioned KBART. And I was totally unaware of what that was. I had never heard of that. And so I have asked Ray to give us a short presentation on KBART and what it is and how we can use it. For us that don't know.
Okay.
So,
Scotty, can you let me be a co-host so I can share my screen?
okay. Okay. I would love to do that. Let's see. Okay, how do I make you a co-host? Oh, there it is up there. I got you. Never mind. There we go. Well, I'm temporarily changing you to the host. How's that?
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So this is going to be really, really short because I'm not a cataloging expert, but one of the things that I typically use when I'm working with collections of things, whether they're ebooks or journals or whatever, is using knowledge base ISO standards called KBART, which allows us to share collections of information and metadata about collections of information as sets and upload them or select them in our ILS systems. So for example, right here, I have a collection of dissertations that an institution made accessible to anyone that belongs to WMS's interlibrary or what WMS's knowledge-based system. But my point is that it's a way for that institution to share the resources that they've made accessible to other places. In this case, they made them accessible through archive.org, but then also provided the metadata to indicate what OCLC records they're tied to, and then allowing other institutions to select this collection to make it accessible through their ILS system. So hopefully that kind of made sense. Again, I'm not a cataloger, but I deal with knowledge-based stuff from time to time in our ILS system. But we were talking about different ways we can share not only open access collections, but collections unique to our institutions. And this is just one way to share that information in a standardized way. I guess is where I was coming when I suggest this at the exec meeting.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Now, is this a subscription that you need to get to? Is there a KBART subscription, or how do you get?
No, it's just a format standard that literally all the column titles are the same, regardless of what format, whatever file you're talking about, whatever collection you're talking about. So literally, the similarity between all KBART files is the structure of the different columns that they have in each KBART file, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So that way you can upload the standardized format into whatever system that allows for KBART files to be uploaded into.
Okay. Can you send me a copy of that?
Yeah.
Just the sections?
Just this, yeah, okay. I can send you this document and then you can just look at the columns.
Okay. Okay, I may have been the only one that didn't know anything about this, but does anybody else have questions for Ray? Okay. Maybe I was the only one that had questions.
Ray, can I just ask you, so other than on archives.com, where else would we be able to get that? Where else can we use KBART?
I'm not exactly sure which ILS systems allow you to upload into KBART, which ones don't allow KBART files to be uploaded in, to be honest with you. But it can be used across any system in regards to having a file you can share with other institutions, because all the metadata formats are similar. And Kathy shared the KBART NISO webpage with everyone. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Kathy, for sharing that. All right, let's just do some round robin here for a little bit. The two questions that are there are, how are open access materials used at your institution? And second, is there a possibility for other institutions to access what open access materials that you have? So let's just popcorn it. Anybody that wants to pop in and talk about that, if you have some answers to those two questions, that would be, let's just have a discussion for a moment on that.
We have live guides that you can make use of. Open education resources. We have a bunch of live guides that have lots and lots of different links.
Okay.
Was available to our faculty. There's also one that deals specifically with textbooks, with open education resource textbooks.
Okay.
And yeah, I know there's a number of libraries that have connected with EBSCO and have some open resources there, but we haven't done that yet. I would be curious to find out from other people how they're using it and what they're doing.
Okay.
I'll mention two things that I hope are responsive to the questions. One about how open materials are used at the University of Kansas. One thing that I think is fairly unique is that, and maybe not, maybe you all will tell me it's not, that we have, working with our registrar now, tagged classes that use open educational resources or low-cost resources. So students, as they register, will see a tag indicating that a class, we set a threshold based on surveys of faculty and staff of $45. So if the course materials cost less than $45, they see a tag that shows it as a free or low-cost class, which is not strictly how we're using open materials, but it lets students know how faculty are using open materials. So the other thing I wanted to mention, and really appreciate the opportunity to do so, is that in my other hat for the past year, I've been the director of the University Press of Kansas, which, as you probably know, is an enterprise run by the 6 KBOR universities. which means I report to a board of trustees that is 6 provosts, and I hope you can all sympathize with that situation. They've actually been pretty good to work for. But one of the things that UPK has been doing for the past 3 years is a project called Kansas Open Books. It's a Mellon-funded project to digitize about 70 backlist titles and make them open access. And that collection is now complete. It's available in a number of different places, its own website from the UPK catalog. I'm going to put in the chat the web address for the collection. I would if I could figure out how to use the chat. The web address for the collection in the KU institutional repository. That is not the right. I don't know why that's happening. I only sent it to one person though, so it's a good thing. I'm having trouble with my browser. I will eventually get that address into the chat. But anyway, the point here is that these titles, they are all in American history and American political thought. They are available to anybody to use. For about 2/3 of them, scholars, both at the Kansas universities and elsewhere, have written new forewords, new front matter, especially to help with using these texts in teaching. So this is a resource that's available to anybody. As I say, I'll get that website into the chat soon. And it's if you want to, you can download them and put them in your own repositories or do what you like with them. They're licensed under a Creative Commons license, and we're really anxious to have people use this collection, especially in teaching. So thank you for the opportunity to plug both of those things.
Thank you.
Scotty, I could say that, like Gloria, here at Pittsburgh State, we have a large complement of live guides that deal with open access content in all formats, and then also a large complement of live guides that are open for anyone to look at that have to do with open educational resources. Also, like Kevin at KU, we also have in our class schedule listings through the registrar's office, classes that are identified as 0 textbook cost or low cost classes. So we do advertise that for students. And the one other thing that we have, and I know other institutions, others of you have it as well, and that is you have an institutional repository, whether it's Digital Commons or DSpace or whatever it might be. I think Scholar works at KU. So we have a lot of local content. That's everything from electronic thesis, digitized archival collections, all sorts of content that we put in the Digital Commons repository here at Pitt State that is completely open and available to use as well. So those are some of the ways that we have and that we try to participate in this. We actually, from time to time, whether it's a book title, as Kevin is suggesting, or whether it's a open access journal or whatever it is, we ingest a lot of those into our online catalog and discovery tool through Summons. So those are some of the things we do here at Pitt State.
Okay, thank you. Sarah has reminded us they're currently having an OER online summit the next week. And so there's space in the chat to register for that. I know here at Labette, we are in the baby forms of it. We have some teachers that are using OER textbooks, and we have a list of I've called out open access, open educational resource pages that they can go access resources from those pages. That's about all we have done there. Anybody else have something to contribute to that discussion?
I have just a little bit. At Wichita State, we're doing a lot of what you've already heard, encouraging faculty members to either create or use open educational resources using the tools that Randy mentioned and that Kevin mentioned. I think, no, who else to mention, but one thing that we have done this year, it's a little bit different, is that our university had been charging students a very small fee for classes that used open educational resources, and then it was going into the program. And we did a survey of faculty and found that a lot of faculty members were deliberately not telling the university they were using open educational resources because they didn't want their students to be charged the $10 fee. So the provost's office is going to be covering those costs this semester and going forward. So that's something that is a little bit different. The other is the university created 2 OER fellows for faculty members to go around the campus and just sit down with faculty members, tell them what it is, how it can be used. And one of those, actually 2 of those fellows are in the library. We split it. They couldn't do the full fellow, so we have 2 half fellows in the library working on that. And they're getting really good results in terms of just addressing what some of the faculty members' concerns were about using open educational resources and what support was available for them on campus.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kathy. Is there anybody else that would like to contribute before we move on? All righty. Our newsletter, this was something that was suggested by the board, the executive board, is a newsletter, a monthly newsletter. And it's going to include news, which that means I have to receive news from you all. So if you would send me blurbs about what's going on at your place, and we will put it into the newsletter. Institutional updates, new things that are happening, new resources and discoveries. You know, we have a lot of stuff here we can put in for a newsletter coming up. So just some stuff like that, just a newsletter to tell everybody what's going on with each of us and keep us up to date in between meeting times. When we talked about I mentioned this before, the resources collaboration, we discussed and determined that it would be easier to start with the OAR. And I think we've got a big start on this. I'm very pleased with what we have gotten done today. What I plan on doing with what we've received today is to put a list in the newsletter of these things, and maybe try to look at the websites like at Pitt State, KU, some of those places, and find the Ottawa, find some of the links to the web pages and the LibGuides. What else would be helpful for you guys in a newsletter form to get access to these materials? What else would be helpful to you? Gloria, you're muted.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I want to remind people about NLA, which is from K-State. It is a opportunity for information literacy tutorials that's available to everybody free of charge. So if you are teaching information literacy courses at your campuses, there's a number of NLA tutorials that you can sign up for the site, and you can basically use them with your students because they teach you lots of different information literacy concepts. So just be aware of NLA.
Okay. And that's through K-State.
That's through K-State, but there's now a whole group of instructional designers that are working together to create different kinds of resources, additional resources compared to what is currently there.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah, and that's the New Literacies Alliance. That's what it's called. Thank you for putting up the link, Holly.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. All right, any other things that would be beneficial to you with the OAR in a newsletter? Any sort of information that would be beneficial to y'all? Okay, well, we'll just wing it with what I've got. And then you can tell me later on, this is not working, or I would like this information. You know, let me know, talk to me and let me know. I think the other things that we had on here is it says determine how the resources would benefit the KCALDD. I think right now it's too early to know how it would benefit, but I think just wisdom and knowledge of knowing what we have available to us will be beneficial, and ways of sharing like Ray talked about today. We've received a lot of information today that I think would be beneficial. In the future, you might be thinking about just some short presentations that you have about information and resources that you have at your institution that would be able to share, you know, like maybe Gloria could share about her LibGuides that she has available, or Randy could share about his LibGuides that are available, or Kathy or Ray, or any of these little tiny presentations, just to give us some more knowledge on this and how it could be beneficial to us. All right. I will work on a newsletter, get that out soon. And Virginia will be looking at the recording of this to type up the minutes. Is there any other items of business from the floor for the good, bad, ugly of the cause? Okay. Our next membership meeting will be in May at KCALDD. Hopefully, things are better with our situation out in the world. And our executive council will meet via Zoom in April to get it all planned out.
I talked with Jeanette today about the CULTS conference, and it's May 19th and 20th, and the plan is to have it in person in Wichita.
All right.
At, hold on, I can tell you, Newman University.
Newman. Oh, cool. I've never been there.
Sandra,
Okay.
did you say the 18th and 19th?
19th
Yes.
and 20th.
19th and 20th. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else for the good, bad, ugly? All right. Well, thanks a bunch, y'all. And we'll see you, Executive Council, in April. And we'll see the rest of you in May, if not before. Take
Great.
care.
So long, everyone.